people, if they are not performing at their job, get demoted, and with that demotion comes a pay cut. And that's not even related to being in a commission position, that's just in a regular position as well. Representative Omar.
I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted, and then you get a pay cut with it. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. So I know.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Chris Reacts. Before we start, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell, because today's clip might be the most out-of-touch political moment you'll see all week. We're talking about a real congressional hearing where a simple workplace concept left lawmakers scrambling. If you've ever had a job, a boss, or a performance review, this one is going to hit different. Stay with me, because the full exchange gets even more unbelievable as it goes.
Thank you, Chair. Representative O'Neill, I'm just wondering, are there, I was a union member for a long time, and I've also gotten an opportunity to work in the private sector, and I'm curious to know if you know of any employer that has a provision where they decrease pay for employees. I find that a little strange, and so I just wanted to know where that thought comes from, and if you know where an employee gets their pay decreased.
Representative O'Neill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I was a business owner. I recently sold my share, so I don't own it anymore, but there are plenty of businesses out there, especially those that depend on employees' productivity, like I was in the trades. So I owned a company that was a tile setting company, and if we didn't get out there and do the work, and if I didn't have highly productive employees, they were paid based on their productivity. So if they had issues, it is very possible that their pay would reflect those issues. If they were on probation for something, for some sort of violation, that could be coordinated with a pay reduction. It's something that businesses do all the time, and it could be the step before someone is actually fired. So it's an important thing, and it gets people's attention, when they see it in their paycheck that their performance does not meet the standard.
Representative Omar.
Hudson, I think, did you have something?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Hudson? Was there a question for Mr. Hudson?
No, I think he was saying that he wanted to add something, so I didn't know if he had something to add.
Mr. Hudson, is there a response to the question? Do you have a response to that question?
Madam Chair, yes, ma'am.
Saying that you aren't aware of any businesses that decrease pay? Because that was the question.
Madam Chair, I think what Chair O'Neill perhaps could be referring to, there are some instances where the pay structure is different. So for an example, she'd indicated that she had come out of the towel industry. I'm not sure if these were commissioned employees who may have been on like an 80-20 split. In that instance, there is a situation where a pay might be reduced. Or if we have a supervisor who perhaps had a performance improvement issue or a behavioral concern, and we demoted this supervisor, that is an instance where pay might be decreased. But just an employee who has not been under some sort of performance improvement program having their pay reduced, I've never heard of that.
Well, Mr. Hudson, I think Representative Neal knows exactly what she says. And I think we've had a little conversation back here when the question was asked. I know Representative Uglem, do you want to speak to that point?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Representative Omar, if you happen to be a salesman in this world, and you can be selling cars, you could be selling siding, you could be selling just about anything, and you are paid on commission. So if you don't sell anything, you don't make anything. So you can have good years, you can have bad years. Probably really one of the best examples is a real estate agent. So it's the idea that people can make less money year to year, not to mention all the bonus situations that are out there in industry. It happens. It happens a lot. It doesn't necessarily happen, here in the public sector, but it's pervasive and very, very common in the private sector. Thank you.
And I'd like to add that in the private sector as well, people, if they are not performing at their job, get demoted, and with that demotion comes a pay cut. And that's not even related to being in a commission position, that's just in a regular position as well. Representative Omar.
I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted, and then you get a pay cut with it. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. So I know.
All right, so we just watched this exchange featuring Ilhan Omar asking whether employers actually reduce pay for workers. And I've got to be honest with you, this moment perfectly shows the gap between government thinking and real-world work experience. Now let's slow this down and look at the facts instead of the noise. The question asked was basically this: do employers ever decrease pay? And the answer from the business side was simple: yes. All the time, not as punishment, not as cruelty, but as basic economics and accountability. Think about it. Sales jobs, commissions, bonuses, performance pay, demotions. Millions of Americans live in that world every day. If you sell more, you earn more. If you perform poorly, you earn less or you move into a lower role. That's not controversial. That's reality. What made this exchange so striking is how surprised she sounded. For people who've worked in sales, construction, small business, real estate, or even corporate America, this felt like economics 101. If a manager gets demoted, their pay changes. If a bonus depends on performance, it can disappear. If you move from supervisor to staff, your paycheck reflects that. That's accountability. And accountability is what keeps businesses alive. Here's the bigger point. Government jobs and union jobs often operate very differently. Pay structures are more fixed, raises are scheduled, pay cuts are rare. So when someone from that background hears how the private sector works, it can sound shocking. But for the rest of America, it's Tuesday. This moment highlights something important. Policy debates about wages, businesses, and the economy should include people who've actually had to meet payroll, manage employees, and keep a company afloat. Running a business means balancing fairness with survival. If performance never mattered, businesses wouldn't survive long enough to pay anyone at all. And let's be clear, this isn't about attacking anyone personally. It's about the bigger conversation. How can leaders make rules about the economy if they don't fully understand how millions of Americans actually earn their living? At the end of the day, the private sector runs on performance, risk, and results. That system isn't perfect, but it's the engine that drives jobs, innovation, and opportunity. And moments like this show why these conversations matter. I want to hear from you. Have you ever had pay tied to performance, bonuses cut, hours reduced, promotions or demotions affect your income? Drop your experience in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video, subscribe to Chris Reacts, and share this with someone who's worked in the real world.